Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am plumb wore out, and so is Tina. So hang on after the break and I'll tell you why.
Check it out.
Okay guys, before we get rolling, we had a viewer question and it had to do with our peppers. And a couple of times while we've been making the videos, I've mentioned that this pepper's 2 years old or this pepper's 3 years old. And you know that if you don't know that you can keep peppers over the winter, that probably sounds really odd. So we had a viewer ask about it, and it's a very reasonable question. I went back through some of our records looking for pictures, and I found a few that we can share with you and kind of tell you how we do it. But late in the fall, we'll go through before the peppers get too cold and go into shock. What we'll do is we'll trim them back. We prune them pretty hard, and then we wait for them to show some signs of new growth so we know which ones will survive the pruning. And then we dig them up and we put them in pots, and then we take them in the basement where it's cool and we put them under lights. Now the cold will send them into a dormancy, but the lights will keep them alive. So we use a fluorescent light, doesn't put off much heat. So they get the light, but they don't get the temperature they need to resprout until spring. So I've got a few pictures here. The first one, I believe, will show you how we prune them. It's not the greatest picture, but we prune them back pretty hard. The second picture will show you them after we've dug them and put them in their pots. And if you look real close, you'll see that each one has a piece of masking tape on it. We use masking tape to write down what variety or what color they are. And then in the third one, we'll show you in the basement downstairs underneath the fluorescent lights that we put up. We made a PVC rig. It hangs the lights about 24 inches off the floor. And we leave them sit under there. Now we do water them about once a week. We don't let them dry completely out, but you don't want them too wet either. So we water them about once a week, and they're nice and cool, so they don't use much water anyway. But anyway, we'll show you those pictures, and then we'll get on with what we're doing today.
Check it out.
All right, guys. The main part of the video today is we're going to be planting out some of our brassicas. But we're going to plant them out for fall. But brassicas are, now you've seen us plant our broccoli. Broccoli is a brassica, but we're going to be planting cauliflower, and we're going to plant some more cabbage, and we're going to plant some Brussels sprouts. So, and then we've got a tips and trick at the end if you want to hang around for that. So, but we're going to show you 3 different ways that you can plant them, some easy things that you can do at home. You've seen us plant with the peat pots, but you can plant without them, and we'll show you how we do that. So it'll be 3 different ways and 3 different plants. So we'll just get to that footage, and then we'll just see how we did it. Okay guys, we've got several projects to get after today out here in the raised bed garden, but we got our stuff all set up. We're going to be doing a very basic planting setup. We're going to use our super soil. We're going to use some vegetable, just a 274 vegetable fertilizer, a real easy organic fertilizer. We're going to use some Epsom salt, and we'll be using our peat pots, but we'll talk a little bit more about those here in a little bit. But we got a bunch to do, so we're going to just get after it. All right, we're down here on the end of the raised bed garden nearest the corn patch. So, but this tall bed here and the pot, and that tall bed there and the pot, and there's 2 more pots on the other end. Each of these tall beds can hold 10 heads of cabbage. So we're going to plant up 20 to do the boxes and 4 to do the pots. So starting out, we're going to need 24 cabbages. All right, give you a quick look here. We got our 24 peat pots laid out here, and each one has about a tablespoon of fertilizer in the bottom. Now we're going to go ahead and top these off with the super soil, and we'll be right back to show you how we set them up for planting. Okay guys, we've got our 24 containers for the cabbage filled, and we have 4 planting holes put in each one. I'll tell you a little bit about the cabbage we're going to plant. It's called Caitlin, and this is not the same cabbage you saw us plant in the spring, but this is a fall cabbage, and it takes about 94 days to finish up, which is going to push it right up into the frost. But that's okay. We should be fine. But we're going to go ahead and get these planted up. Now, one thing about Caitlin cabbage is that it has a white core. It's listed as a green cabbage, but it has a white core, and it really makes for pretty sauerkraut. A lot of times if you make sauerkraut with a green cabbage or a green cored cabbage, then you'll end up with kind of a brown or a light brown sauerkraut. This cabbage has a white center to it. It has green leaves on the outside, but a white center when you cut it open, and it makes for a really good sauerkraut. And it's a storage cabbage, which means it's a denser cabbage meant to last longer in storage, and the denser cabbages are also good for making sauerkraut. So we'll go ahead and get these planted up. We'll get 4 of them in each hole. We'll put a light topping on top, and then we'll get them planted off in the boxes. Okay guys, we got these cabbages planted in here. There's 5 to each half of one of these boxes, and we went ahead. We don't put any dirt over the tops of them. Cabbage need to be planted pretty shallow. And another thing you might not know about cabbages is you want to leave the soil really, really loose. We left it loose in the peat pots, and we did not pack the soil around them or over them. If you do that, cabbage's roots get a condition called clubbing, and if they club, that can stunt the size of your cabbage heads. So you want to make sure whenever you plant cabbage, whether they're seedlings you bought from the store or ones that you're doing like this from seed, that you start in very, very loose soil and let those roots just run, because if they get that clubbing, they will stunt. So I've seen people, they're kind of surprised by how small their cabbage heads are. That has a lot to do with it, and they're just not familiar with the condition. So now, another point, since I'm convinced you regular viewers don't miss anything, is how can you direct seed cabbage with slugs? Usually if you direct seed cabbage with slugs, the slugs will come in and eat them overnight. And you may be thinking I'm going to set out trays of beer or use slug pellets, but I got another secret for you, because the rest of you are probably asking, Mark, your fertilizer has everything in it except magnesium. So all the plants in the world need magnesium to utilize the phosphorus, nitrogen, and potash in your fertilizer. So we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Slugs despise salt, and Epsom salt is magnesium. Now, normally you've seen me work this into the soil, but in this case we're going to try to deter the slugs. So we're going to put the Epsom salt on the surface of the ground. So the rain will eventually work it in, but the ground will be salted, and that'll be something a slug just really isn't interested in. So I'll bring you over here and show you we got this box planted up true, and we did the planter pots we were planning on. But once that salt is either on the surface or just made the surface of the ground salty, this will just become an area that a slug really just doesn't want anything to do with. So we're going to get our magnesium, and we're going to take care of the slug problem in one shot. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I probably won't bring you back. I'm just going to dust it over the surface. But and then we'll get on to planting some other things that we need to do. So we'll get that done, and then we'll get on with it. Alright guys, we've moved down here to the other end of the raised bed garden, and we're going to be planting something I swore you'd never see me plant, but we're going to do it just for the channel's sake. But we're going to plant some cauliflower. I hate growing cauliflower. I love eating it, but I can't grow it worth a darn. But we're going to give it a shot anyway. I found this, a lot of people ask me about the variety. This is a Denali. Denali is a self-wrapping cauliflower, so it'll wrap itself. And I wanted to show you another method. If you don't have access to the peat pots that we're using, or you got bad soil, then we're going to do a method called Gaia planting. That's a term that we started using here on the channel. And Gaia meaning earth. We're going to dig a hole in the earth, and we're going to use it as a pot. And we're literally just going to turn what ground you have. It can be bad ground, red clay, terrible old soil, because it really doesn't matter. The plant's not really going to grow in it, and what we're going to put in the holes is going to enrich the ground around the hole. So what we've done is we can fit 18 in this bed. We've gone ahead and put our fertilizer and our Epsom salt in the bottoms of the holes, and we're going to go ahead and fill these holes with the super soil, and then we're going to plant our cauliflower, and then we're going to dust them over with a light coating of soil, and we'll call that done. But we'll bring you back and walk you through the process as we go. Alright guys, I'm going to bring you back in here. Miss Tia has been lovingly agreed to help us out over here on the planting. So this will give you an idea. You can see them a little better from this angle. But we've got the holes filled with soil. They're just loose in there, and rather than making planting holes, we're just going to sprinkle on a few seeds in each hole. And I think there were 100 seeds, and we got 18, so what's that, a little over 5 a hole. But I'm not sure there's 100 in there, so we'll just keep spreading them out until we use up all the seed. We can always thin them back out later. But we'll get these planted in here, and we're just dropping them on top. And then we're going to put a light coat of soil over the top of them and pat that down, because you want good soil contact with cauliflower. And like I said, just because I hate growing it doesn't mean I don't know how. But I just can't keep the sun off of it. But with this self-wrapping variety, we should be a little bit better off. So, but you need good soil contact with cauliflower for germination. So we'll put a light coat of soil over them, and then we'll pack them down. But Tia's about done planting here, so I'm gonna help her with the covering, and then we're gonna bring you back and we'll show you them when they're done. Alright guys, we got these things covered up and patted down, and I'll just give you one last look at them. And we're gonna move on down to the other end of the garden, back down by where we planted the cabbages, and we've got another project to show you. Alright guys, we're back down here by where we planted the cabbages up there in the box. But I wanted to show you another way that you can use this kind of planting method, and that's in a trench or in a row. You may have crops that you want to plant in a row. Now I hate to admit to this, we're going to plant Brussels sprouts in this, but you would never plant Brussels sprouts in a row, but we're going to make it work just to show you the example. So, but you could use this for carrots or beets or about any other thing you wanted to plant in a row, herbs. But we've gone ahead and dug our trenches, and we put in our fertilizer and our Epsom salt, and we're going to go ahead and put in a light layer of the super soil. We'll spread out our seeds, and then we'll put another light layer over them and pat it down. Basically the same as the other methods. We're just doing it in a trench or a row this time. And then I got one more plan for the end of this bed. Okay guys, we've got the rows or the little trenches with a little bit of the super soil in the bottom of each one of them, and Tina has graciously agreed to help us get these planted too. Say hi to everybody, T. She's not going to say hi.
Counting.
She's counting. But this is not how you would plant Brussels sprouts, but this is how we're going to plant them, just to show off the row planting system. So, but anyway, she's going to get those planted in, and then I'll help her get them covered up, and we'll get them patted down, and we'll bring you back and show you that when it's done. Alright guys, I just want to bring you back real quick, show you we got these covered up, and we've got to put the rest of our soil and some fertilizer and some Epsom salt down there. We're going to do something with the end of that bed, plus we've added it to this end of the bed, so we want to kind of keep the bed even. So to show you one other thing I forgot to mention is the type of Brussels sprouts we planted. They're a Dagan F1 hybrid Brussels sprout, and they're a short stalked but large sprouts. So that's what we planted. We showed you the other one, so we'll show you what we're planting today. But I'll be right back. I'm going to work that pile down there into the soil, and then I'll show you what I'm doing with it. Okay guys, I've got that super soil mixed in this end of the bed here, and I'll show you what we're doing. We picked up some of these seeds. They're just a pinto bean, but we picked them up on super sale, and then we got them home and realized that they were actually a couple years out of date. So that's probably why the store had them on sale, but they probably think they pulled a fast one on us, so we're going to pull a fast one on them. We're going to go ahead and put these in the ground for fall, and we're not going to try to use them this year. We're just going to turn them into fresh seeds. So if you've got some seeds in your seed collection, or you find some seeds on sale, you don't always have to grow them for food. If you got a little extra space like this at the end of a box, we're going to throw them in and create our own seeds. So that's going to be your gardening hints and tips for the day, is how to make your own seeds when the store thinks they got the better of you. Okay guys, we got the end of the bed planted up with those pinto beans, and we'll try to get our revenge on the store by growing our own pinto seeds. So I'm going to get these covered up, and Tina's going to get a hose drug out this way, and we'll get this stuff watered in, and we're going to call it a day. So there's your look at the pinto beans planted in, and I'll be right back to talk to you. Alright guys, that's going to about wrap it up for the video. We've enjoyed having you here at the channel. We hope you enjoyed the video and the different ways that you can pretty much assure that your starts take off. Please don't hassle me about the Brussels sprouts. We know you're not supposed to plant Brussels sprouts that way, but we're going to figure out how to make it work. So we'll keep them watered, and they've got the right nutrients, and that's some darn good soil out there, so they should be okay. Don't worry about them, and we'll follow along with them as they mature. So, but if you like the video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. We'd really appreciate it. And if you would, leave a comment down below. Just say hello, or talk to some of the other people down there. They have some great conversations going on down there in the comments. But we try to respond to everybody's comments. So if you leave a comment down there and tell us what you want to see on the channel, tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like, and the more comments you leave down there, the finer tuned we like to have the channel follow along with what you guys want to see. So when we read your comments, the more you comment, the more likely you are to like the channel, because we take our guidance from you guys. So if you like the content here on the channel, we hope that you'll go on and subscribe. And down there by that subscribe button is a bell. If you'll click on that bell, you'll get notifications whenever we release new videos. But we had a great time having you here at the channel, and until the next time, we'll see ya.